Welcome to this published author's interview. My name is Kenneth Muyingo, and with me I have a special guest that I will be interviewing. First, I just want to mention, if you watch this interview and you would like to write a book yourself, to become an author and write your first book, there's a link with the interview for you to join the group, become an author and write your first book, to connect with like-minded people who are doing the same. And with that said, I would like to get into the interview by asking my guest to say hello to our viewers and listeners and to introduce herself.
Yes, I'm Susan Marie Kelley, and I have written a book. I have written 3 books, actually. The first book was Spirits in the Living Room. The second book was Ravens in the Backyard. And my third book is, it's a memoir about my life.
Wow, 3 books. That's amazing. And if somebody is watching this interview, Susan, and they would like to know more about you, what would you share with them?
Let me start in 1986. My husband Dave and I were talking on our back porch one evening when all of a sudden his head dropped forward and he began speaking in a voice unlike his own. "Do you have any questions?" he boomed. I sat still, blinking, wondering if I should call 911. Again he said, "Do you have any questions?" I asked, "Who are you?" "My name is Gerard, and I have come from the spirit world to help you. Do you have any questions?" I didn't know what to say, didn't know what to ask. So I asked, "Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing?" This was all I could manage. And it's been this way for over 30 years. Whenever I want an answer, Dave goes into a complete trance, and Gerard comes and helps me. He then instructed me to write a book. There are people who not only need answers, but they need hope as well, he said. And that's what got me started writing books.
Wow. And this has been 30 years since.
I'm sorry, I did not hear you.
So the first experience was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. That's profound. So when you feel like you need inspiration, Gerard comes through and
when I have questions about what's going on in the world,
yeah.
Why are we here? What is our purpose? Where are we going? I ask Gerard. And there's more spirits that come through. There's Elizabeth. She comes and talks when I need a female voice or a female presence to talk with. And there's a couple others that will come through, depending on their expertise. And they will answer my questions.
I see. Wow, that's profound. And so this is the inspiration that led you into starting to write and to share this. So the title of the first book is?
The first book is Spirits in the Living Room.
Spirits in the Living Room.
Yeah. The second book is Ravens in the Backyard. And the third book is Susan's Metaphysical Adventures.
Wow, that's amazing, Susan. And so you've told us about what inspired you to write the books. So the first book, when was the first book published?
The first book was published in 2011. And that included a lot of my beginning years and what happened in my home. It was not an easy childhood.
Yeah.
There was a lot of abuse, but I learned a lot. That started a lot of the questions as to what I was doing here. I could not understand why God would subject us, his own, to suffering and torture. There had to be more to this whole picture. And that's when Gerard and the gang showed up.
Wow, that's powerful. Indeed, there's got to be more to life than just suffering.
Exactly. I was led into the universal laws. I began to understand the polarities, why there's good and bad, What you put out comes back to you. All these universal laws add up. If you use them correctly, you can create whatever you want. We have all the power inside of ourselves. That's what I've learned over time. We've been given the power because we were created in God's image. And if God can create, so can we. And so I have.
Wow.
And passed that, and I have passed all those experiences along.
And talking about universal laws, which one can you share with us is the closest to heart for you?
The closest to what?
The closest to heart.
Oh, to the heart?
Yes.
There's a couple. What goes out comes back, meaning whatever you put out into the universe will come back to you in equal measure. And that's based on the fact that everything vibrates to a certain energy. There's slow energy. Can you hear? There's slow energy and there's fast energy. The slow energy is depression and fear and the negative feelings. The high energy is the love and the compassion and the kindness. And the higher the energy you put out, the more will return to you in lightness.
Wow, that's profound. So what we get is determined by what we put out.
Absolutely.
That's very profound. And if somebody's watching us and they feel like they're in a tough place, or like they're struggling to find the meaning or the purpose of their life, what would you share with them, knowing what you know on the journey you've been?
The first thing that's important is to go into your heart. And what does that mean? That can take a lot of different avenues. The most works for me is meditation and prayer. The more you listen to your instinct, you listen to your heart and to your intuition, it will guide you where you need to go. Always, always listen to your heart. It will never, ever lead you the wrong path.
Always listen to your heart. That's very well
Yes.
said. And looking back on this journey, 3 books. The first book, how did you choose the topic for the book?
The topic was mostly because spirits were starting to talk to me in my living room and give me my answers. And most of that book was a memoir, but it was also how I found the purpose of why I was here, why we're all here. And that, I think, was mostly maybe the first quarter of my life.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and do you consider yourself as a naturally talented writer, or would you say that writing is a skill that you have developed over time?
I love to write. I always have loved to write. I like to get the right words with the right thought. That's challenging for me. Yeah. And when I hit it, I know I've hit it and I'm right on mark. A lot of times the ideas will come intuitively. Yeah. Truth comes from the spirits. They come from whatever God wants to show me at the moment. And then the words and the paragraphs will follow. They'll start in my head and then they'll just continue on until I get it down on paper.
I see. And so for other, like the journey for creativity is sort of like it comes to you, from what I understand. Like you get a thought and then you just feel there's this thought that you need to just put to paper. And
I would say it's being in the zone. It's like a painter, a dancer. Yeah. Anybody tunes in, what I call tuning in to the spirit world, yeah. You will get inspiration that way. It will come right into your heart and then you're able to express it.
I see. And if somebody is out there and they are on a creative journey and they feel like they struggle with inspiration, What can you share with them, knowing what you know?
The best I found for myself is walking in nature, music, especially music. Music has a lot of different vibrations, and if you can connect to the higher vibrations, then it helps you to connect to your higher self, your higher spirit guides, the higher part of yourself.
I see.
That always helps, and meditation as well.
Walking in the nature, music, and meditation.
Yes,
Awesome.
absolutely.
Very nice. And so you mentioned the experience that you had with your husband 30 years ago and your love for writing. I'm curious, is there something else that you could point to and say, this is it? And the question is, what would you tell me is the one thing that has happened to you personally that has had the greatest impact on you writing?
The greatest impact is knowing that what I've gone through, what I have experienced, can help others. Otherwise, what's the purpose in getting it down? The truth is getting recorded, and people can understand what they're going through and put some answers to their questions as well. We're basically all on the same path to get back to love and compassion. We go through our experiences so we can learn how to love one another, and especially learn how to love ourselves. And if we can do that, if I can help anybody by my experiences and misexperiences, misadventures, there's a lot of those, but I've learned, then that'll make it all worthwhile.
Indeed, very well said. And so sometimes I have conversations with people and they say, yeah, I would like to write a book, but I don't have any stories. I've not had any major experience in life. But from when I hear from what you're saying, that life gives us these moments to experience things and then we can learn from them and share. What can you share with someone who feels like they would like to share something, but they feel like they don't have a story or a message to share?
When I first started writing, I was told I'd have to publish the book. I knew nothing about publishing. I knew nothing about writing a book. I knew about writing only from English class. But I knew that this was something that was important. And so I took classes on writing so that I would make sure that what I wrote was intelligent, somewhat. I searched out publishers, I searched out editors, I went down the route of figuring out how to bring this to pass. And once you do that, then you have to market. And marketing is a whole other ballgame. That's all part of it. The thing is that you can do it if you want to do it. If you have a strong desire to share what you have, and I believe everybody has a story because they have a life. And if you have a life, you have a story. And every story is unique and needs to be expressed. And there's more and more help out there now of people helping you get your book out there, get your story out there, because people need to hear what you have to say. Everybody needs to hear what you have to say.
Wow, powerful, very well said. And this was very inspiring, Suzanne. And I'm curious, are you currently working on any other books?
No. What I'm doing right now is writing blogs. As the information comes to me and I get the aha moments, I write on Facebook. I have a Facebook page called Everything Metaphysical. And I also write on my website, which is susanmariekelley.com. Most of it's on Facebook because it's easier and it's people read it more.
Very nice.
Yes.
So you mentioned the Facebook page is Everything Metaphysical,
Yes.
and then the page is your
The
the
website
website,
is susanmariekelley.com.
susanmariekelley.com. Is there another way that people can connect with you after they've watched this interview besides the Facebook page? And
Yes, on my website, I have a question page. And if people have questions, they can ask the questions on the website and that'll go right into my email.
very
And
nice.
then I can answer that way.
Very nice. And how can people buy your books? Where can they access them?
Right on Amazon.
They're
It'll pop right up. Yeah.
they're all on Amazon.
Amazon, yes.
Very nice. We will put those links as well with the interview so that people can access them.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And is there anything else that you would like to share that we have not been able to address in the interview?
The only thing I would say is all this forced me to look way deep inside to find that I had my own power and my own answers. And with that, I found I could create what I wanted to. And there's so many uncertain things going on in the world right now, it's a message of hope. We do have all the power as long as we go inside and find our own energy that we can use.
Wow, very nice. Thank you so much for making time for the interview, and I will sure be keeping in touch with you.
Thank you so much. It was nice talking with you.
You're welcome.